There's this ancient Greek saying that goes, the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. And honestly, that simple little metaphor perfectly captures a huge tension in our world right now, especially as we're all trying to figure out this whole artificial intelligence thing. So, which one is actually better equipped to thrive today? The fox or the hedgehog?
So this idea was made really famous by the philosopher Isaiah Berlin. And it's pretty simple. On one side, you've got the hedgehog. This is your specialist. They dig one single super deep burrow of knowledge. Think of a cardiovascular surgeon or a quantum physicist. And then on the other side, you've got the fox. The fox is the generalist, roaming all over the place, connecting ideas from totally different fields.
For decades, let's be honest, the hedgehog has been king. But now, with AI that can automate specialized tasks faster than we ever thought possible, this is no longer just some philosophical debate. The question is very real. In this new world, is it better to be a hedgehog or a fox?
Well, to even start to answer that, we have to recognize a fundamental truth about our world. Our entire society is basically a hedgehog factory. It's designed from the ground up to create and reward intense specialization.
I mean, think about it, right? From the moment we're in school, what are we asked? What's your major? We're told to pick a lane. In our careers, we're supposed to climb one narrow ladder. It's funny, Karl Marx actually warned about this. He called it the estrangement of labor, where being too specialized could actually lead to our brains kind of atrophying. And that warning has never felt more relevant than it does right now.
And this system, well, it has some serious consequences. A 2020 study found that only 18%, just 18% of the credentials high schoolers earn are actually in high-demand fields. We're telling all these students to dig these deep, specialized burrows of knowledge, but we're often pointing them at totally barren ground. It's a classic hedgehog problem, a deep focus on a goal that's already becoming obsolete.
And believe me, it only gets more specific from there. Just take a look at these. These are real grant codes from the National Institutes of Health. You can't just get a grant for, science. No. You need one for a Mentored Quantitative Research Career Development Award. Or how about a loan repayment program for contraception and infertility research? The level of specialization is, well, it's pretty breathtaking.
But here's the catch. This super deep focus, it creates a massive vulnerability. It's what we could call the specialist's blind spot. Those areas where knowing just one big thing isn't only not enough, it can actually be downright dangerous.
And this blind spot is especially risky when it comes to AI. Check this out. A recent Thomson Reuters report found this huge gap. While 96% of professionals are aware of AI, a jaw-dropping 71% admit they lack a practical understanding of how to actually use it in their jobs. They're all hedgehogs who can see this powerful new tool, but they're missing the fox's ability to connect it to their own world.
And this leads to some pretty wild cautionary tales, like this one. A lawyer in New York, a total specialist in the law, used ChatGPT for his legal research, but because he didn't have that broader critical context to double-check its work, he ended up citing completely fake, non-existent cases in an official court filing. That is a specialist's blind spot in action.
But the ultimate irony in all of this is that AI itself is the perfect hedgehog. It's unbelievably powerful in its one narrow domain, but it totally falls apart where foxes thrive, dealing with weird, rare events, understanding human emotion, or applying intuition. This means you can't out-hedgehog an AI. To compete, you have to be the fox.
And that brings us to the hero of our story, the fox. In our world today, we call this person a polymath, someone who doesn't just survive in this new era, but absolutely thrives by connecting the unconnected. Now, a polymath isn't just a jack of all trades, okay? They're a master of connecting trades. The real magic, the secret sauce, is in their ability to interconnect all that knowledge, to see the patterns that the specialists, deep down in their little burrows, simply can't.
You think that sounds impossible? Okay, let's talk about Bruce Dickinson. Yes, that Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of the legendary metal band Iron Maiden. He's also a commercial airline pilot. He flies the band's jet on tour. He's a world-class fencer, a published author, and an entrepreneur. He connects his skills. Piloting lets the band tour in places they otherwise couldn't. That right there is a fox.
And he's not the only one. Mae Jemison went from being a medical doctor to an astronaut who then lived out her childhood dream by appearing on Star Trek. Or how about Greg Graffin, the frontman for the punk band Bad Religion? The guy has a PhD in zoology and literally infuses his lyrics with evolutionary biology.
See, each skill isn't separate. It becomes a new lens to see and to shape the world.
So what's the secret here? What's the superpower? It's a way of thinking called systems thinking. While a hedgehog breaks the world down into tiny isolated parts, a fox, or a systems thinker, does the complete opposite. They zoom out to see how all the parts relate and connect to form the whole big picture.
And hey, this isn't some new age idea. Centuries ago, Johannes Kepler used this exact mindset to solve a problem that had stumped astronomers for ages. The planets just weren't moving the way the model said they should. A hedgehog would have just kept crunching the same numbers. But Kepler, a true fox, started pulling in ideas from completely different fields, magnetism, optics, even the flow of river currents, to reimagine the problem. And that's what led him to ditch the idea of perfect circles and discover that planets move in ellipses. It changed science forever.
The cool thing is, this isn't some trait reserved for historical geniuses or rock stars. It's a mindset. It's a skill that any of us can cultivate. So, how do you do it? How do you actually unleash your inner fox?
Well, for starters, you can actively hunt for patterns, read about biology, and ask yourself, how could these principles reshape business strategy in the age of AI? Next, learn to embrace a winding path. Van Gogh's so-called failures in other jobs gave him a unique perspective. Your diverse experiences are your biggest advantage against a single-minded algorithm. Build upon your skills, branch out, instead of just digging deeper. And above all, just stay relentlessly curious. It's the one human trait AI simply cannot replicate.
Look, in the age of AI, the world doesn't need more hedgehogs that can just be easily replicated by a machine. It needs more foxes, more people who can see the big picture, connect the dots in new and surprising ways, and use the kind of judgment and creativity that machines just don't have. So, the final question is, how will you do it?